COVID-19 crisis has brought about unprecedented changes in our lives. We find ourselves in situations not of our own choosing, but imposed by external circumstances. Now, this means that in order for us to save the academic year 2020, we also have to take into consideration the principle of saving lives, which is more primary. Many of our colleges have made initiatives to ensure that they support students in remote learning. This includes lessons which are broadcast on How TV, which are then packaged and distributed to you, the students, via WhatsApp, our department's website, and also various institutions' website. These lessons are meant to support you in this particular crisis, over and above the fewer and shorter lectures, contact lectures that you will be getting. These lessons will be more valuable for you to be able to pass in this particular academic year. We therefore call on all students not to see this as a moment of despair, but to see this as an opportunity to use all these available resources to support your own learning and teaching. I wish you all the best. Let's save lives. Let's save the academic year 2020.
Greetings one and all. My name is Ntombikaise Sandramdawe Vovongwe from Ehlanzeni TVET College, Mtimba campus, under the program Primary Agriculture. I teach Animal Production Level 4. Today we are going to learn about the milking parlor and the milking machine. I said that there are different types of milk, but the most important milk that we are going to discuss is milk that comes from a cow. This is our holding yard. A holding yard is an area where one keeps cattle for a short period of time just before milking. In the holding yard, the cows have to be washed with water to clean dung that is coming from the cow on the cow's back, and also cool down the cow. The reason why we have to do all these things is to make the cow relaxed so that it allows the production of oxytocin that is created in the pituitary gland in the base of the brain called the master gland. Now, what oxytocin does is that it allows milk let down. So in the milking parlor, we expect the cow to give us enough milk. So that is the reason why we have to make sure that the cow is calm enough to let down the milk. If milk is not let down properly, then adrenaline is going to be produced in the adrenal glands, and that will cause the cow not to produce milk efficiently, and the farmer is going to lose a lot of money or profit because the farmer is feeding the cow and yet not getting what is expected from the cow. Things that might cause inhibition of milk letdown will be kicking the cow, making a lot of noise, or shoving the cows forth and back. So from the holding yard, the cattle are driven in the milking parlor. There are 4 breeds which are very famous in South Africa for the production of milk. We have Ehlanzeni, which is a reddish brown colored cow with white patches. This cow is famous for the production of yellow milk, which has a high butter content or butterfat content. And then we have our Ashaya, which is a white breed with red patches on it. This is an average size breed, which is famous for the production of white milk. The breed produces very white milk. Then we have our Jersey breed, which is the smallest of the 4 breeds. This breed has a well-developed udder, and it is calm in nature. It is easy to work with and also produces well in areas with high climatic conditions. We have the Holstein or the Friesland breed, which is white with black patches, or sometimes it is white with red patches. It also has a well-developed udder. This is the biggest of the 4 breeds. It can grow to a weight of about 750 kgs. And the tallest it can get is 147 centimeters. This breed, it produces more milk than the other 4 breeds that we have looked at. This is a 2-milker. The reason why we have a 2-milker on campus is for lessons, and we are not producing to sell. So in places or in Palours where they produce milk to sell to their community or to a lot of consumers, they have more than 2 areas where they milk the cows. So the cow will enter here, which is the entrance into the milking parlor. So this side is the holding yard, and this will be the milking parlor. As the cow enters, you close the gate so that the cow does not go out, and then the cow will be facing this side. This will be the front, and this will be the rear side of the cow where the cow is going to be milked. Remember, I said that the udder is at the rear side of the cow in between their hind legs. So while milking, you are going to feed your cows with concentrates on the feeding buckets or the feeding troughs. After milking, you open the exit gate and allow your cows to come out from this side. Now, because there are no cows, I'm demonstrating it so that you can understand how milking takes place and how the cows move in and outside of the milking parlor. After milking, you have to close the milking gates, the parlor gates, so that the cows do not come in through the wrong gate. Then if you have more than 2 cows to milk, you are only going to milk 2 cows at a time. After the cows have been milked, you're going to allow the other 2 cows to enter, and milking will continue that way. Next, we are going to go into the milking parlor to see the operational aspects of the milking machine. Now, the question I can pose now is, where exactly does milk come from? We know that milk comes from a cow because we have looked at our breeds. But where exactly from the cow does the milk come from? From the muzzle? From the legs? From the back? Where exactly? Milk comes from the udder. Where is the udder found on the animal or the cow? The udder is found between the hind legs of the animal. It is a sac-like structure of connective tissues with teats where milk is squeezed out from. Okay, so when doing your selections, it's very important to select heifers, young cows, of good udders. How do you know that it has a good udder? The udder has to be well supported so that it does not hang too low and prevent the cow from moving around. It has to have prominent milk veins. As you can see on our structure, that the udder has prominent milk veins that are visible for you to see and know that this is going to be a good producer of milk. Each udder consists of 4 independent glands that produces milk independently, and each teat protrudes from each gland. That is where the milk is squeezed out. In the olden days, our great-grandparents used to use a bucket and their free hands to harvest milk from cows. And in the morning, you will find there's fresh milk on the table to eat with your soft porridge. And in the afternoon, they'll have now inkomazi to eat with your hard porridge. But these days, it's very difficult to milk a lot of cows at the same time. So we have sophisticated machines that are kept in an area called a milking parlor. That is where we'll milk our cows. We are now in the milking parlor. Okay, I'm going to run you through the whole process without milking cows. The reason for that is that the milking machine makes a lot of noise. In that way, you won't be able to hear anything. So I'm going to present this without actually introducing cows inside the milking parlor. Now, looking at the components of the milking machine, we have the milking unit, which consists of the clusters. The clusters, or each cluster, is attached to each teat in order to drain out or harvest the milk from the udder. Then the milk will move from the milking unit to the milk line. to the receiver where the milk will be stored temporarily, and then from there the milk will go to the bulk milk tank where it has to be at a temperature of 4 degrees Celsius within a space of 3 hours. There is vacuum that will be in the milk lines to help harvest this milk from the teat of the animal, which is produced by the vacuum pump. The vacuum regulator will regulate the vacuum or the air that will be in the vacuum line so that a lot of air will be produced or sucked out from the system. The vacuum gauge will tell you the amount of air that is in the vacuum line, which is very important because we have to record. And then you have the air lines in which the vacuum is transported. We are going to start with the vacuum pump. The vacuum pump is the heart of the milking machine. Without the vacuum pump, the milking cannot take place because the vacuum pump sucks out the air from the milking lines that allows milking to take place. There is the vacuum reserve tank. The sucking motion that the vacuum pump produces is stored in the vacuum reserve tank. Just in case the vacuum pump falls or fails during milking, then we have enough vacuum to continue with milking while we troubleshoot or attend to the vacuum pump. We have your vacuum lines that transport the vacuum or the sucking motion through the whole milking machine. From the vacuum line, the vacuum travels throughout the milking machine. But now there's a vacuum regulator that will control the vacuum in the milking machine. If the vacuum level is too high, the vacuum regulator will allow a bit of air to enter the pipes or the vacuum lines so that the vacuum can remain constant. The vacuum travels through the pulsator to the vacuum gauge where the vacuum level is going to be measured. So the vacuum gauge will tell you if there is enough vacuum in the milking machine or not. What the pulsator does is it controls the rhythmic movements that are in the clusters. So it acts as the mouth of the calf. Remember, we're talking about an udder that should be protected in order to harvest enough milk. So the pulsator will be setting the pulse of milking on the teats to keep it constant and not damage the teats of the udder. Dear students, take note that it is very important to keep your hands clean in the milking parlor because we are handling milk and it's a perishable product. So the wash hand basin has 2 water inlets, cold water and warm water. Warm water will be coming from the geyser through this pink pipe, and your cold water will be coming through the white pipe. So as you wash your hands and dry them, you also have to wash the udder of the cow with a pipe that is not connected, as I've said, that we are not milking, but now the milking machine has not been set up for milking now because of the noise. So after washing the udder, you dry the udder using a paper towel, not a cloth, because a cloth is going to transfer bacteria from one udder to another. So you have to use a paper towel to dry the udder. The paper towel has to be thrown away after milking. After washing and drying the udder, we attach the milking machine through this milking unit called clusters. We have 4 clusters, as I have indicated before, that each udder has 4 separate teats. You attach the clusters to the udder of the cow and check on the cluster head that milking is successful. So there'll be milk running through the cluster head and going to the milking gauge during milking. After milking, the clusters are rinsed and placed back upside down to allow them to drain off the excess water. The milk gauge will measure the amount of milk that you have harvested from a particular cow. So each cow will have a separate milk gauge in order to know the amount of milk that the cow has produced. The milk will travel from the milk gauge through the milk line to the receiver, where the milk will be stored temporarily. From the clusters, milk travels to the receiver through the milk line. This is the receiver. The receiver has an arm inside, which is called an agitator. An agitator stirs the milk inside the receiver during milking, because I said that milk is an emulsion made up of water and fat substances. So if it's left alone, the water will separate from the fat, and then that will reduce the quality of our milk. During milking, the sanitary tank will trap liquid or foreign substances such as milk that has fallen into the vacuum line when the vacuum has dropped. So this is the sanitary tank. It has a valve at the bottom to allow the milk to come out when you are washing the milking machine. From the receiver, the milk will travel to the bulk tank, assisted by the milk pump that will help to suck the milk out of the receiver to the delivery tank. The milk will travel through the milking line to the delivery tank, where the milk is going to cool off. 3 hours after milking, I have said that the milk should be at least 4 degrees Celsius in temperature. The cooling tank has a thermometer and a thermostat. The thermostat measures the degree that the milk has reached. Remember, the milk has to be 4 degrees Celsius in the milking tank. And the thermostat will go on and off until the milk in the milking tank has reached the desired temperature. Inside the milking tank, there is also an agitator, just like in the receiver. The function of the agitator, as I have said, it is there to stir the milk and keep it as one mixture or one substance. The reason why the milk has to be kept at 4 degrees Celsius is to prevent the growth of bacteria in the milk so that it reaches the consumers in good standards. Possible exam questions, dear students, that you might find will be to give the functions of the agitator. As I have said, that the agitator is there to stir the milk inside so that it does not separate. Functions of the thermometer, you know, it is to measure how cool the milk is. Another question that you might be asked is to label the milking machine or give functions when the milking machine has been labeled now in the question paper. So you have to take note of all the functions. All the functions are very important. You have to know the labels. You have to know what does what. This is the end of our lesson, dear students. Please read your books as we prepare for the final exam. Thank you.
The COVID-19 pandemic has a serious impact on the college system. It has reduced the interaction between the students and the lecturers, hence affecting the academic year 2020. We are now forced to look into the alternative methods or ways of increasing interaction without violating COVID-19 regulations. This includes broadcasting on TV, radio, and using other social media platforms. Students are encouraged to use all the platforms made available so that we can save the academic year 2020. Working together, we can beat this. #SaveLives, #Save the academic year 2020.